Hello everybody and welcome back to another Gymnastics Ireland fitness session. Today's session is going to be focused on stretching, okay? Now whether you're a gymnast or not, whether you're a sports person or not, stretching is vital. I truly believe that everybody should stretch at least once a day, okay? I think that it can transform your energy for the day, that it can make you feel overall more healthy, more mobile, and just better, okay? So there are some advanced parts of this session, so it will be hard if you're not specifically a gymnast, but what a great opportunity for the gymnasts that are watching to try and teach maybe mummy and daddy, brother or sister, anybody in the household. Try and teach them these stretching techniques because that's a great way to learn as well, okay? So let's get on with this session. It is very important that while we are out of the gyms that we do stay fit and healthy, but it is equally important that we stay safe when we do these fitness sessions. So before you start any fitness session, make sure there's nothing in your way, no furniture or anything that you could fall into and hurt yourself. Make sure that you can move freely side to side and make sure that you can spread your arms out without hitting any objects, okay? Then we can have a safe session. So we'll get going, okay? We'll start with our heads once more, working our way down, and then we'll advance the stretch when necessary. Okay, so I'm using the right hand side to lean to, just little movements back and forth. Now switching sides, little movements back and forth. And again, applying a slight amount of pressure just to make that stretch a little bit more efficient. Look down. Try not to lean forward when you do this one. Try and keep your body and your back quite upright and then look down, and that should stretch your neck better. Again, you can apply a little bit of pressure and you should feel that then, just down your back. Tiny little movements left to right whilst you're looking down. Look up at the ceiling. That will stretch the front of your neck and into your chest. Little movements side to side. Now look over one shoulder. Again, just trying to, you should be in line with your shoulders, okay? You can go slightly further past your shoulders if that's comfortable. Okay, shoulders backwards. We'll do this 10 times, that's 3 already. And forwards. Good, okay, and if you remember from the last video, we'll be raising our arms upwards now, okay? Everything will be 4 or 5 seconds, hold for 5, okay? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the side, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now imagine you're at a concert and you're clapping. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and hold just to the side. One more time. Imagine you're about to present to the judges in a routine, and down. Okay? Now we're going to use our right arm first and we're going to circle it forwards 5 times. Okay? 1 big long circle, okay? Big range. 3, 4, 5, and now backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Straight away now, left arm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Both arms in the air, and we'll go circling forwards with both arms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Straight away backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one is going to be a little bit complicated. If you haven't done it before, you're going to do different directions, okay? Put your hands in the air, put one arm forward and one arm backwards, and we'll do this 5 times and then switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and rotate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Okay, star shape. Slightly lean over to our right hand side. This should be stretching just into our lats. Remember, don't let your arm creep forward. Try and keep it behind your ears, and this really does make the stretch very good. Little bounces again, moving into our ballistic style of stretching with holds. Other side. Practice your breathing. This can stretch your lower back too, and down through your hips if you're a wee bit stiff. Back to our star. Okay, so back to our star shape, and what we're going to do now is we're going to hook one of our hands over our other arm, and we're just going to pull to that same side. Okay, this will stretch your deltoids and up through your shoulder if you're doing this correctly. I like to try and stay around shoulder height, okay, so not too low, not too high, around shoulder height, and I like to hook my hand around my arm like this, just past the elbow, and this is where I pull from. I pull from this hand, because you don't want to turn loads and loads through your back, so you try and apply the pressure through this hand and a little bit then through your lower back to get a little stretch from there too. Hold. Shake your arms out and other arm. Hook it around. Find your shoulder height position. Believe it or not, there is a slight difference in what you do with your hands as well. Especially you gymnasts, as you're always using your hands, your forearms, your wrists are always going to get a little bit tight. So just changing your hand position, your wrist position, can actually stretch things like this a little bit differently. Play around with that. Everybody will be slightly different, but you'll notice it. Hold. Okay. Shake your arms out. Now, we'll be doing our wrists now. Now, just rotating them one way and rotating back on yourself, okay? Just getting different angles, stretching the wrists slightly differently. And generally speaking in gymnastics, no matter what discipline you're from, the wrists are a dominantly used part of the body, so you must look after them. Now this here, which is just waves, making waves with your wrists, it's an elementary stretch. It's probably one of the first stretches you did in one of your first recreational classes. An elite international gymnast will still be doing this, okay? It's a very, very good stretch. It gets a great range of movement up through the wrist, okay? Now what we want you to do is, as if you're giving yourself a high five, and move one of your wrists slightly down, okay? So my right wrist is the one that's going to be stretching here, and I'm applying a little bit of pressure now to stretch up through the palm of the hand, okay? Moving side to side, and again on the other wrist. Pulling the fingers towards the body like this. So we'll stretch just up the top of the forearm and into the wrist. Okay? Be careful on the amount of pressure that you apply. Just very small amounts. And you'll feel it. Okay? Shake your arms out. Back down now to the floor where we'll be stretching out our lower backs. It's an opportunity now just to apply a little bit of pressure onto the wrists. Just moving side to side. Thinking of your own discipline and how you use your wrists. And just stretching that out. Up through the forearms. Down to the fingers. And into the wrists. Now we sink our elbows down. Trying to get them to the floor. Again, little movement side to side. Stretches out that lower back really, really nice.
Try and sink down, practice your breathing. And like the last video, we rotate 90 degrees now. Hands either side of our foot and sink the chest down into the knees. Finding the position that stretches your legs the best. Move around until you find that position and then hold it. And that's where you sink down and practice those breathing techniques. Another leg. Now into our lunge stretch. Flexed foot. You can apply a little tiny bit of pressure through your wrist. In particular, I like the ballistic style stretching, and this one, tiny little bounces. I rock back and forth slightly. I feel this stretches really nicely, hits all the areas. Alternate from flexed foot to pointed toe, and then hold that position. Okay, our knee is facing up to the ceiling at all points. Now we rotate 180 degrees, knee facing down. And again, to side movements to stretch all through that hip. Sink down as far as you can. And that's the position you need to be holding. Okay, you can apply a little bit more pressure by just lifting your knee off the floor. And the back part of your leg is like you're in splits. Use this opportunity now to stretch down. Similar to our last stretch, but a little bit harder now. Flex foot is very important in this stretch, and it will really get the back of the leg. Okay, alternate legs. If you're doing this inside and it's a nice day, the spring birds are tweeting and chirping away, it's a lovely sound, background sound to your stretching session. You might be able to pick it up on the video. Open the windows, listen to the birds. It's very relaxing. Down. Keep our legs flexed. Sink down. I'm definitely a little stiffer on my left leg, so I need to focus a little bit more on that. This should stretch your lower back too. My lower back is fairly stiff, so a lot of these stretches will get my lower back too. Okay, so I'll go into my straddle position again, and I just rotate then into my splits. So I'm going to choose left leg splits. By no means are my splits textbook, but what I do is I just get into it. Again, like everything else, I'm always moving side to side, back and forth, flexing, pointing, find the position that I like, and then that's when I'll hold, okay? Now you advanced gymnasts that are on national squad, you should have your foot turned back fully, so your heel should be pointing to the ceiling, your front knee should be pointing to the ceiling, your shoulder should be back, try and almost reach back into your back leg. I can't do that. but you should be able to hold with your hands off the floor, and that's a good starting position, okay? Now I come out and I rotate back into my other leg splits, which is my right leg splits. I'm trying very hard to adjust. Think of all the little things that your coach says to you over the years. Get your knee tucked in, get your heel pointing up, get your knee in the right position, in the front position, and then that's when you relieve the pressure of your hands on the floor, lift up as if you're in the middle of a routine. Very important. Little rocks back and forth, side to side, flexed feet, and that's good. Now, from this position, what's an excellent exercise is swim throughs, okay? Now, in gymnastics we call them swim throughs, and it's basically just from this straddle position. Well, it's more like a mini swim through that I'm about to do, and I get my hands on the floor and I just rotate from that straddle position into my straddle splits. Just using my hands and my elbows to go back and forth from these splits. Once I've done that around 5 or 6 times, I'll hold my straddle splits like this. You advanced ones should be able to put hands to the side or hands forwards into our splits. Whew. Haven't done splits in a long time. Now, into our butterfly position, that I call it. Again, up and down, slight little movements, rocking side to side. Remember what I said in the last video, where I use my elbow to stop this knee coming up. Apply a little bit of pressure with my opposite hand, and that stretches it. Change legs. Little bounces. Good. Okay. Now into our sail position. Again, this is a really, really good stretch to stretch out the front of your hips and your lower back. I always start with my legs apart initially, and then I'll put them closer together, and I feel like I'm flexible enough because it does change the stretch. Little side to side movements, rotating our shoulders, which will rotate our hips as a result. Back and forth. Look up at the ceiling, stretch out through that stomach. Practice your breathing. Now we can put our knees together and our ankles together, and this should make the stretch slightly harder now. As you could probably see from my range, it's reduced now, but that means it's just stretching slightly more. Again, find the position that suits you. And now, reaching forwards, having our armpits down to the floor, side to side movements that will stretch down through our lats once more, and also sinking down into yourself should stretch out your lower back nicely. And what you can do is you can rotate from this position into our sail position and just go back and forth. Now, a really, really good exercise, which is like an active flexibility, and excellent for your lower back. It's something that we call rock and rolls, okay? So what we do is we just grab our knees like this and we literally just rock back and forth like this with a rounded back, and this stretches out our back really nicely. If you time your breathing correctly, it stretches it even better. So as I rock back at this point is when I'm breathing out in the rock, like this. Okay, so at that, the highest point of that arc is when I'm breathing out. I'll try and exaggerate it so that you get the timing. So that stretches that back out really nicely. Now what we can do now is 5 rock and rolls to stand up without using our hands, okay? So let's go. 1, 2, 3, bring your knees close to your head. 4, last one, and then we're going to stand up. 5, no hands, and we're done. And that's the session finished, guys. I hope that you enjoyed that. Remember, whether you're a gymnast or not, I think there are parts of this video that you can definitely take. Doing this every day is going to increase your mobility, and that's better just for an overall healthy lifestyle, okay? So I do recommend doing this stretching routine once a day, okay? Anytime that you're going to do a physical activity, you should stretch beforehand, okay? I do recommend that. As gymnasts, you will know this because you'll do every session with a stretch, and it's a great way to keep a healthy overall lifestyle, okay? So until the next video, stay safe.